a typical year, the S&P should gain another 4%. That would put us over 7,000 into the end of the year. And I think that that's sort of the minimum. But because we've got the Fed cutting, and they started in September, they've been on pause all year. That only happened twice in the last 50 years, which is 1998 and 2024. I actually think the S&P, given the skepticism that's been plaguing this market all year, we could do far better than 4%, maybe even 10% into year end.
Wow. Okay, so where does crypto fit in, especially when you're looking at how those currencies are moving versus what's happening with tariff concerns, global trade concerns, et cetera?
Crypto had a huge deleveraging event on October 10th, and part of that was triggered by the escalating tensions with U.S. and China on tariffs and trade. And that was the biggest liquidation event in 5 years for crypto. So there is still those ripple effects, 2 weeks later that are plaguing the crypto market. But I think we're almost through that, because a measure like something called open interest for both Ethereum and Bitcoin are at record lows at a time when the technicals for both Bitcoin and Ethereum are flipping positive. So I think you're going to see a crypto rally into the end of the year. And it really does help to see JP Morgan say they're open to the idea of using crypto as collateral.
Tom Lee sees a big rally to close this year, both with stocks and cryptocurrencies, and that's exactly what we need. We're in the perfect staging area right now for a big bull run to close out this year. Things are coming together. I think we're going to get it with the Federal Reserve loosening financial conditions. We got some news on that as we get into it, but let's do exactly that. Let's start breaking it down. Brad Garlinghouse stating today is the close of Hidden Road, big $1 billion acquisition. It is final. And he says, look, Ripple's made 5 major acquisitions in the last 2 years. Of course, GTreasury, Standard Custody. There's been some really big acquisitions as they continue to build solutions towards enabling the Internet of Value. But he reminds everyone, XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in. You hear people out there that say, oh, Ripple's moving away from XRP. Brad's telling you that's nonsense. And it's nonsense because, again, doesn't matter how successful GTreasury is or RLUSD or Hidden Road. They could be the best in the world. They will pale in comparison to the value of Ripple's XRP holdings. And that's going to continue to be the case. Every dollar that you add in XRP value is a whole empire for Ripple. It is amazing. And again, XRP, as Brad is saying here, it's at the center of everything they're doing, and they're doing some really, really big things here. Before we continue, I remind you, make sure you subscribe to this channel, up-to-date daily news. You don't want to miss it. Now, Michael Arrington says, we are finally onboarded with Hidden Road. It was a bunch of incredible tools for our business as a hedge fund. Ripple has made some incredible acquisitions, but Hidden Road may be the best one so far. Of course, this is from Michael Saylor's point of view and the things that he does. There are incredible synergies between Hidden Road business and Ripple's stablecoin, for example. So again, all these acquisitions make sense in the bigger picture of what Ripple is trying to do as they rewire the financial system. I remember someone asked David, they're like, hey, is this taking too long? Are you guys not really moving as quickly as you thought? And he says, well, in some ways, maybe, but it takes a long time to rewire global finance. Always keep that in perspective. What they are doing is no small task. Next here, we see the future of crypto equals access and trust and transparency. This is from Ashesh Birla, CEO of Evernorth XRP, giving institutional and public investors simple, regulated, liquid exposure to XRP, and we're compounding that value. So, a lot of people, it makes it easy for them to invest in this. They're going to like it that the point of the fund is to earn yield and buy more XRP. And like we've seen with other such structures, the idea is to grow your XRP per share over time. We see this with some Bitcoin structures, Ethereum structures, of course, and they're able to do this without a ton of debt. A lot of these other digital asset treasuries, they have to go out there and they have to borrow billions. But the people that are participating in this to seed this fund, they already have the XRP. Ripple, the entity, Chris Larson, Kraken, Uphold, of course. They're all contributing the XRP they already have as an investment. So we're not using a lot of leverage here, which I think gives them, a lot of strength here as they go forward, not having to worry about if the market goes up and down and meeting your loan terms. Like, they're good to go. They're rock solid. This could really be a game-changing product. Now, I like this chart. The Bitcoin therapist put this, and you see, when we look at 2020, 2021, you see very similar, right? The only thing we don't know is how this ends. But unless this is wildly different than anything that we've seen before, and that can happen, of course. But if it's anything like 2020, 2021, 17, 18, so on and so forth, we know what's coming. And it's that big blow off top, that big rally to end things off. And some people out there say, hey, this is not going to be a cycle like that. You're going to see continued growth. That will happen someday. You've seen that with tech stocks. Of course, there have been downturns. There have been tough financial conditions overall, but in general, tech stocks have went one way and one way only, and that's up and up and up over quite a long period of time. But I don't know if we're there yet. I mean, this stuff is just becoming legal. You're just starting to see your big tech, your financial institutions come in here and build on this technology. Like, I think we have a ways to get to where we get that stability and long-term growth trajectory without any major downturns, but that's just my opinion. You don't know. I mean, this could take off and just never come back. And again, that's why I'm keeping a significant amount of my crypto just for a long-term investment. Like, I'm not going to try to time it perfectly. Just put that to the side, let it kind of grow over a very long trajectory. And if you have good ones, it won't matter. If it goes down right, you're going to do very well over time. Ledger Nano just came out with their Ledger came out with their Nano Gen 5. So I've been talking to people about, hey, get the bigger screens. It's so much nicer than these little thumb drives we had in the past. Well, now they have a more affordable Ledger Nano Gen 5 touchscreen. A lot more room there to work with than you've seen in the past with, again, those little tiny ones. If you want, the better deal, the more cost-effective way to kind of get into the future and get a usable screen, check it out. Affiliate link down below. You help this channel. The Ledger Nano Gen 5 is a great value. Of course, you have the Stacks and the Flex. They're flagship models. They're even bigger screens, more expensive models. But if you want to get the big touchscreen, but on a budget, the Nano Gen 5, great deal. Again, affiliate link down below. Check it out. I think you will like it quite a bit. JP Morgan to allow Bitcoin and Ethereum as collateral in crypto. And this is all about becoming a true asset class. You have to be able to borrow off of it, whether it's real estate, taking margin on your stocks, whatever you have. If it's a true asset, you can borrow against it. We see crypto graduating. Now, right now, it's just Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's going to change as we start getting ETFs for XRP and Solana and, all these other altcoins. They will join right there and be, you can use it as collateral all the same. It's not just going to be Bitcoin and Ether. There's nothing special about those assets. It's just about as you incorporate them into traditional finance and you have market discovery of their price. And, even JP Morgan, who's been traditionally kind of sitting in the background on crypto, at least what they say publicly, they're going to have to start taking this as collateral, because if not, guess what? You will go to other banks that will. It's just a wave of the future. But this is a big signal that we are graduating to a serious asset class, unlike anything we've seen. Ethereum wealth quietly accumulating as stablecoin usage skyrockets 400%. So price is still down a little bit as we're in the staging area, waiting for this shutdown to end, for this whole space to take off. But your big money they're acquiring Ethereum, they're acquiring XRP. Of course, they're acquiring Bitcoin. Just understand where we're headed. Your smart money, your big money, they understand this. And also look where you're going to see stablecoin usage, either right now growing or what you will see. And of course, XRP Ledger is another ledger where you're going to see massive growth in stablecoin. This is real world adoption using a blockchain for a real purpose. And stablecoin usage is a good place to look, because that tells you where the blockchain will actually be used. And right now we're seeing great growth metrics on Ethereum, XRP, and a lot of your other big chains out there. USDT usage on Ethereum is at an all-time high. So again, the stablecoin narrative, a lot of usage on Ethereum. Monthly transfer volume in September was $580 billion. And they see this valuation of Tether is $500 billion. I don't believe that if they went to market, they would be valued at $500 billion. Just my opinion. But it just shows, why it's so important to have, you have Ripple on the XRP ledger, and we're starting to see more and more being built out. And the more heavy hitters you have on your blockchain, the more valuable everything becomes. So as we get EVM sidechain, as we get programmability on the XRP Ledger Direct. I think you're going to see more, success there, and we will have, other behemoths other than just Ripple on the XRP Ledger soon enough. It's already starting, and it's exciting to see. We have Jerome Powell saying good but not great. Inflation data should keep the Fed cautious. Look, this is the reality. We're not going back to 2% inflation. Understand that. They have to protect the job market. They are going to turn totally dovish. They're going to bring interest rates down. More importantly, they're going to make financial conditions looser in this economy. They have to, because if that job market tumbles, and it's starting to, we're starting to see cracks, that stuff moves quickly, and now you have a big problem because you're going to have inflation and a crumbling job market, and there ain't nothing good there. So, you're going to hear this narrative. Just understand this. I don't care what you do. You're not going back to 2%, so don't even think about that. Now is the time for the pivot, and they're going to do so aggressively. You best believe that, and that's a great environment for crypto assets. Lastly, Zhaodao. I've been saying it's coming, and it is. It's imminent. I'd be very surprised. I don't want to give you a timeline, but let's say very, very soon. If you're not yet, make sure you follow on X so you get the whole rundown. And once this comes out, I'll make sure to walk you through it. For those of you that are interested in the first DAO in XRP Ledger history, you get to participate in this chain, have a vote, have a voice. There's going to be businesses that the Zhaodao invest in, because that's what this is about. Really helping people build on this blockchain using this technology, and it will take ownership interest in some of those entities. And if the DAO makes profits, there's going to be profit sharing with the member. A lot of exciting stuff going. And this is one of the greatest signs for the XRP Ledger. Again, using this new technology stack, EVM sidechain, NFT technology, Flare, all sorts of stuff. This is really, really exciting. Can't wait for the launch, and I'm telling you, it's going to be real quick. Link down below. Follow us on X, or not us, follow them on X. I'm working as just an advisor, as a marketing advisor, but follow the Zhaodao on X, and we should have a big announcement here really, really soon. I'm super excited about that. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.